Should you start something new in your mid-50s, like riding a motorcycle? Absolutely. And in this video, I'll share with you why I think you should. Hey everyone, and welcome to my new channel and my very first motovlog, where I will use my recent obsession with motorcycle riding as one example of the benefits of discovering new passions in these middle years. Over the next few minutes, I want to talk about why mid-50s is a good time to explore new passions and challenges, why I chose a motorcycle at 56, examples of my other passions, and how they inspired the channel name, my goal for this channel, and what the term Paris of the Prairies means. So, let's get started. Why mid-50s? First off, one is never too old to have fun, and motorcycle riding is definitely fun. Some say that when you're younger, you're fearless and will try anything, whereas when you are older, you are more cautious and less risky. I think it's more complicated than that. When I was young, I wasn't fearless. I was naive. In fact, I often thought that there were many things that I simply could not do, so I didn't appreciate the potential for new opportunities. When we get older, I think confidence from life experience can counter being overly cautious and naive. We develop a better understanding of what we are capable of and how to approach new things with a sense of maturity. I guess what I'm trying to say is that life experience and 20/20 hindsight allows you to realize what drives you. Maybe it's your relationships, your job, your hobbies, all of those, or other things. I can also relate to doing things you wish you had done but haven't, though there are some things I won't try now, like skydiving. And of course, life isn't getting any shorter, is it? And keeping your brain active by learning new things makes for a longer, happier life. Why I chose a motorcycle at 56. Okay, I know what you're thinking. I want to say at the start that this motorcycle obsession is not a midlife crisis. I don't think anyone even really knows what that term means. What I do know is that right now, I'm a 56-year-old new motorcycle rider. Okay, that's not entirely true. Back in my 20s, I rode an 80cc Yamaha Beluga scooter. It was fun, but it was just transportation after my car died. I got rid of the scooter a couple of years later when I moved across the country and never gave riding another thought. That is up until a year and a half ago, when my son took a training course before riding around Southeast Asia. His adventure got me thinking that a motorcycle could be fun. So I started doing research. How does one start? What do I need to get a license? What is the best first bike? Should it be new? Used? What size engine? I knew nothing, but that just piqued my curiosity even more. Most of the advice I read said to start with something inexpensive and small. A used 250cc bike, and that made perfect sense. So what did I do? Well, in the fall, I did the worst thing I could do. I bought a new 2019 Yamaha MT-07, and the next training course wasn't until April. I spent the next 5 months staring at a picture of the bike at the dealer, questioning my sanity. Then the day came when I got it delivered. And then I started it up for the first time. I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. In January, I booked myself into the training course for the first slot in mid-April. Then COVID hit, and I had to wait until May. Now, I'm not a patient person, but I had no choice. I did the 2-day course, riding a Yamaha XT250, and I passed. Certificate in hand, I got my endorsement on my 56th birthday. I spent the next 5 months riding any chance that I could. For the first couple of weeks, I stayed close to home, never really getting out of third gear. For me, it is all about safety. I spent a lot of time in the winter watching channels like Moto Jitsu, MC Rider, Dan the Fireman, and many more. And their messages hit home. Not just learning and practicing skills, but the philosophy of riding within your ability. During the summer, I spent a lot of time in parking lots, working on slow speed skills, and it definitely pays off. I can say proudly that I can U-turn within the width of 2 parking spaces, which is pretty easy on the flickable MT-07. It was a great 5 months with no incidents or even close calls, which means of course that I just jinxed myself for the spring. For now, my bike is in its winter slumber, waiting for that first ride when the road's clear. And then I'll do my road test to graduate from learner to novice. That will probably be the story for an upcoming video. So what are my other passions? Well, one is scuba diving, which I started at 49. That came about when I was offered a 1-hour free lesson in a pool during a trip to Hawaii. Unfortunately, there was no time left in the trip to follow up, but it definitely grabbed my interest. When I got back home, I discovered that the local dive shop is hugely successful with a large clientele and many training courses. So I signed up. I did my certification dives in a cold northern lake and started to collect gear. A note to all you aspiring divers: the cost and obsession with gear can be intense, just like owning a motorcycle. Since then, I have one main question when looking at holiday trips. Do they have a dive shop? In future videos, I'll talk about my diving excursions in Mexico, the Caribbean, Hawaii, Australia, and even Iceland. The point here is that I stepped outside of my comfort zone, but also recognized and stayed within my limits, a philosophy that transfers perfectly to riding. I was nervous on my first dives, but now, with experience, they're actually very relaxing. My other passion involves music. I grew up listening to my cousin playing bagpipes and always loved the sound. But being young and naive, I thought he was born knowing how to play and that it was something that I would never be able to do. Until one day, when I was 29, I saw an ad in the local paper for bagpipe lessons and I thought, what? There are lessons? So I signed up and discovered that I had a natural talent for it. Who knew? Probably because I had heard it growing up. I jumped in with both feet and, of course, obsessed over it. I've been playing for 27 years now, have been part of many bands as I moved around, and now I teach my own students. I recently expanded into different versions of pipes, including the shuttle pipes on the left, which you can hear at the beginning of this video. In fact, the reel in reel riding is from one form of pipe music, the Scottish reel, R-E-E-L. And of course, riding is all about motorcycles. So now you know where my channel name comes from. It's a combination of two of my favorite passions. So again, this is something I started later in life. Most people start playing as younger kids. But I tried it and have never looked back. In future videos, I'll explore further the world of piping and how I am always learning. When I started thinking about this two-wheeled craze, I saw a lot of content that asked the question, are you too old to start riding? Of course the answer was no, but what I didn't find was much on the experiences that followed with new, older riders. So this is what I want to do with this channel, and it comes back to why I think you should start something new later in life. I hope that everyone will find something interesting and relatable on this channel. But my main goal is to reach out to all you late bloomers to hopefully inspire and to share an ongoing adventure in motorcycling and other new things that we may contemplate. In fact, this channel is another example of me stepping outside my comfort zone. I'm new to this YouTube thing, but I see it as another way to connect. And so in future videos, I will talk more about my bike and some of the mods I've made. I'll go over and review some of the gear that I have and the new things I will get because, yes, of course, there is always more to get for your bike. I may even be brave enough to record some installations. I'll share some of my diving and musical experiences and tie them into the channel theme. I'll even tell you a little bit about what I do in my working life because there's a rather unusual comparison between my job and riding that should be both amusing and informative. So why does the title of this video talk about the Paris of the Prairies? Clearly, we are not in Paris. As you may have guessed by now, I'm in Canada. I live and work here in the middle of the Canadian prairies in the city of Saskatoon in the province of Saskatchewan. Both names come from the indigenous Cree people. Saskatoon is an indigenous Cree word for the Saskatoon berry that grows locally and is extremely delicious. And Saskatchewan is from the Cree word for swift-flowing river. Interestingly, Saskatoon has been one of Canada's fastest growing cities, with the population growing from 248,000 to 330,000 between 2016 and 2019. But why Paris of the Prairies? That's a moniker that comes from the 9 bridges that span the South Saskatchewan River, which means that Saskatoon is also referred to as the City of Bridges, as is Paris. So there you go. My future videos will also include tours in and around the city and prairies and show off this beautiful part of the country. I also plan to take some long trips, for example out to the West Coast. Of course, I will vlog along the way and share the beauty of Western Canada. So I've told you a little about who I am and what this channel is about. I've given you a glimpse of what is to come in the channel and even given you some insight into Canadian geography. Coming back to why I think you should start something new in your mid-50s. Stepping outside the box reinvigorates your way of thinking and allows you to see the world in a different way, which I guess can make you feel young. At least, that is how it seems to work for me. The bottom line is that your passions are all about who you are, and I hope you will share some of your stories. So please, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave comments. I hope you enjoyed my first YouTube story, and thank you for watching. Until next time.